There's a moment that hits harder than the breakup itself. It's the moment she comes back, after all the silence, after all the overthinking, after the nights you scrolled through old photos, replayed conversations, cursed yourself for what you said or didn't say. She messages you, hey, and suddenly your heart races. You remember everything you tried to forget. The way she laughed at your jokes. The way she once held your hand like she was never letting go. And here she is again. But here's what most men don't realize. This is not a moment to celebrate. This is a test. You see, too many guys jump back in like nothing happened. They confuse attention for love. They confuse comfort for connection. They mistake loneliness for a second chance. But this is your moment of truth, because who are you now? Did you grow since she left? Did you find yourself again? Or did you sit in the same pain, waiting, hoping, aching for someone who already chose to leave? When she comes back, you don't just answer with words. You answer with your energy, with the man you've become. And this video, this isn't about revenge or playing it cool. It's about finding your center again and knowing what your worth looks like when it stands face to face with the past. Let's break it down. Let's be honest. When someone we love leaves, we don't just lose them, we lose a part of ourselves. And the mind does this thing where it says, if I could just talk to her one more time, if I could just understand why she left, maybe then I could move on. That's the illusion of closure. It convinces us that the healing we need is in their hands, that if they could give us a reason, an explanation, maybe even a little regret, we'd finally feel okay. But I'm here to tell you something that I learned the hard way, and maybe you have too. Closure doesn't come from them. It never really did. Closure comes from you, from the choices you make after they're gone, from the way you rebuild your life, not the way they try to explain why they broke it. So when she comes back, when that message hits your phone, or you see her name light up unexpectedly, don't let your heart mistake that for peace. Don't confuse her return with the idea that you finally matter again, because sometimes people come back not to heal you, but to soothe themselves, to see if they still have a place in your mind, to feel less guilty, and none of those reasons are about you, they're about them. You see, the biggest trap a man can fall into is mistaking her return for redemption. Like suddenly, all the sleepless nights, all the overthinking, all the self-doubt will be worth it because she said I miss you. But love isn't proved by someone circling back. It's proved by who shows up and stays when things get difficult. Anyone can leave. Coming back isn't heroic. It's convenient. Staying when it mattered, that was the real test. And the truth is, when we chase closure, we often sacrifice dignity. We reopen conversations that were already answered in her silence. We explain our worth to someone who already walked away from it. But you don't need closure to heal. You need clarity, and clarity doesn't come from her message. It comes from your memory. What did she show you in the way she left? What did she teach you in her absence? When she comes back, you don't need to slam the door in her face. But you do need to ask yourself, what am I really looking for here? Is it connection or is it comfort? Because those are two very different things. And when you chase comfort, you usually pay for it with your growth. So here's the real closure, my friend. It's the version of you who can stand in front of the same temptation and say, thank you for reaching out, but I'm not that man anymore. The one who needed you to feel whole. And when you can say that, with peace in your heart, not pain, you'll finally realize you never needed closure from her. You needed to close the door yourself. Breakups don't just separate two people, they expose who you really are when no one's clapping for you. When there's no more validation, no more texts to wake up to, no more I love you to fall back on when the day gets hard. And in that silence, in that god-awful silence, You meet the version of yourself that's been hiding behind love. The version that needed her to feel strong, needed her to feel valuable, needed her to feel enough. And when she left, that version of you collapsed. Now, here's the thing, when someone comes back after a breakup, you're not just dealing with the past relationship. You're dealing with the man you were back then and the man you've become now. And if those two men are still the same, then it means the pain taught you nothing. It means you wasted the breakup. And make no mistake, breakups are painful, but they're also powerful. They are invitations to become better, to level up, to confront your darkness and turn it into wisdom. When she comes back, maybe she remembers the guy you used to be, the one who was easy to manipulate, or the one who was too afraid to lose her to speak up. The guy who settled, who begged, who thought she was the prize and forgot that he was too. But if you've done the work, then you're not that man anymore. You're not looking for someone to complete you, because you've already started doing that for yourself. You've begun to heal the parts of you that wanted love just so you wouldn't feel alone. You've stopped trying to earn your worth through someone else's presence. And most importantly, you've found out that being alone isn't the same as being empty. Now, when she comes back, there's a danger, and that danger is comfort. Because the old you might still crave her, even if she hasn't changed. The old you might say, maybe it'll be different this time, even though nothing's different except the passage of time. But the new you, if you've really grown, he asks deeper questions. He doesn't just wonder if she came back, he wonders why, and whether she aligns with the man he's becoming. This is where your power lies, not in getting her back, not in proving a point, but in recognizing that you've earned something far more valuable than her attention. You've earned self-respect. You've earned the right to choose differently, so when you see her name pop up, or you hear those familiar words, "I've been thinking about you," pause and ask yourself, would the man I am now be proud of me for going back, or would he be proud of me for moving forward? Because the man you used to be might have chased love at the cost of himself. But the man you've become, he knows that the only love worth keeping is the one that never asks you to shrink again. Let's get something clear. Just because she messaged you doesn't mean the story is starting over. And it sure as hell doesn't mean it's going to end differently this time. But I know how it feels. That moment when your phone lights up with her name. Your heart skips, your brain rushes into fantasy. You think maybe she regrets leaving. Maybe she realizes what she lost. Maybe this is our second chance. And your body wants to say yes before your mind has even caught up. That's not love speaking. That's wounded hope. Here's the truth. When she comes back, you have to separate the signal from the story. The signal is simple. She reached out. But the story, that's the one you create in your head, the one that says, she must miss me. She must have changed. This means something. But it might not. Sometimes a message just means she was bored, or lonely, or curious. Sometimes it means she wanted to make sure you're still on the hook, emotionally available just in case her new situation doesn't work out. It's not always intentional, but it is real, and if you let every hey from her drag you back into fantasy, you're not falling in love, you're falling into a loop. The problem is, most guys don't pause long enough to ask themselves the right questions. They go straight from pain to relief. She's back. This must mean we're okay now. But does it? Did she apologize for the way she left? Did she take accountability for how she treated you? Has she asked how you've grown, what you've learned, what you need now? Or did she just say something vague like "I miss you" and expect that to be enough? Look, we all want to be wanted. We all want to feel like we mattered. And when someone we love comes back, It scratches that old itch. But don't mistake attention for intention. Just because she's knocking doesn't mean she's ready to come in and build something. Maybe she's just checking if the door's still unlocked. Maybe she wants to know if you've moved on, not because she wants you, but because she doesn't want anyone else to have you. And if you fall for that, you're not choosing love, you're choosing confusion, you're choosing history over healing. You're choosing her comfort over your clarity. So the next time she messages you, slow down, take a breath, and ask yourself, what does this really mean? And more importantly, what does it mean to me? Because her message might just be a moment. But your response, that determines your future, and a man who knows his worth doesn't jump at breadcrumbs. He waits for the full meal, or he walks away hungry, but with his dignity intact. Let's talk about something we're all guilty of, rewriting the past to feel better in the present. It's called nostalgia, and it's one of the most seductive liars you'll ever meet. When she comes back after the breakup, when she says she misses you, when the old laughter comes back, when the memories start flooding in, nostalgia kicks in hard. Suddenly, your brain isn't remembering the fights, the disrespect, the emptiness you felt when she stopped showing up emotionally. No, your brain is replaying that one perfect night when she curled up on your chest and said she never wanted to lose you. Your mind clings to that version of her, but here's the question, was that version real or just a moment? Because if you're not careful, you'll confuse familiarity with compatibility. Just because something feels comfortable doesn't mean it's healthy. Just because you missed her doesn't mean she's meant for you. And here's the kicker, when someone comes back, they rarely come back with a detailed report on how they've changed. Most of the time, they come back with feelings, not growth. They say, I miss you, or I think about you a lot, or I hate how we ended. But you know what's missing in all of that? Accountability, reflection, real transformation. Real change doesn't just sound different. It moves different. If she used to run from conflict, does she now face it with maturity? If she used to be emotionally unavailable, does she now listen with depth and care? If she used to manipulate or guilt you, is she now respectful of your boundaries? Because otherwise, what you're stepping back into isn't a new relationship, it's a rerun. And no matter how well you know the script, the ending doesn't change unless the characters do. So many men fall back into old relationships, not because they've healed, but because they miss the feeling of being needed, of being desired, of having someone. And nostalgia plays into that. It convinces you the past was better than it really was. But here's a question most men don't ask themselves. Would I still choose her now if we were meeting for the first time today? Not do I miss her, not did we have good times, but do I want the version of her that's in front of me now, not the one in my memory? Because if she hasn't grown, you will shrink again. If she hasn't evolved, you will slowly undo all the work you did to rebuild yourself. You'll find yourself right back in the confusion, the inconsistency, the emotional starvation you swore you'd never accept again. So when she returns, don't rush, don't romanticize, observe. Does she reflect or deflect? Does she take responsibility or redirect blame? Is she willing to do the work, not just say the words? Because you're not here to fall in love with her past self again. You're here to protect the future you've fought to create. There's a moment, right after she comes back, where everything inside you wants to flex. To prove a point, to show her how much she lost, how far you've come, how you're not the same guy she walked away from. That's your ego speaking. And let's be honest, it's loud. It wants her to see you thriving. It wants her to hurt just a little. It wants to say, now you want me, now that I've moved on. But let me tell you something most men never learn until it's too late. Ego feels good for a moment, but power lasts a lifetime. See, ego is reactive. It wants revenge. It wants validation. Power is calm. It doesn't need to react because it already knows its value. So when she reaches out, and that part of you wants to flex or ignore her completely, or hit her back with some passive-aggressive jab, pause. Ask yourself, is this really about me standing in my power, or just trying to hurt her the way she hurt me? Responding from ego is easy. You can do it in seconds, but it almost always leaves you feeling emptier later, because deep down you know it wasn't true to who you've become. Power, real power, is harder. It takes discipline. It takes emotional clarity, and it takes maturity. When you respond with power, you're not cold, you're composed, you don't chase, but you don't need to be cruel either. You don't need to punish her, because your life speaks for itself now. You've built peace she didn't help you build. You've faced nights she didn't stay for. And you've picked up pieces she dropped when she walked away. Power means choosing how to respond, not reacting out of old wounds. And maybe she expects you to fall back into her arms. Maybe she thinks a message and a little charm is all it'll take. But power is when you kindly, firmly, and clearly show her that access to you now has a price. That price is consistency, honesty, maturity, and growth. And if she doesn't bring that to the table, you don't flip it over in anger. You just stand up and walk away with your peace intact. Because here's the truth most men miss. The most powerful thing you can do when someone comes back isn't to hurt them, or to ignore them, or even to get them back. It's to show them that the man you are now doesn't need them to feel whole anymore, and that's not about being cold. That's about being centered. Let her see that, not the bitter version of you, not the vengeful version, but the version of you that chose growth over ego, healing over chaos, and peace over attention. Because that version, he doesn't need to prove anything, he just lives it. If there's one thing I need you to hear today, it's this: you are the prize now. And I know, maybe no one ever told you that. Maybe you grew up thinking you had to earn love by being the good guy. Maybe you believed your value depended on how much you gave, how much you tolerated, how much pain you could quietly carry in the name of being enough for someone else. And when she left, it didn't just break your heart, it shattered your self-worth. But the real transformation didn't happen when she came back. It happened in all those lonely nights when she didn't. It happened when you stopped waiting for an apology that never came. When you chose to level up instead of spiral down. When you started hitting the gym not to get her back, but to get yourself back. When you read the books, took care of your mental health, built your discipline, and faced every demon that told you weren't good enough. That's when the shift happened. That's when you stopped chasing love and started embodying it. Now she's back. And maybe she thinks she can slide right into the same space she once walked out of. But what she doesn't realize is that space doesn't exist anymore. Because you're not him anymore, you're not the man who saw her attention as a prize. You've flipped the script, now you are the prize. Not because you're playing games, not because you're trying to be above her, but because you know what you bring to the table now. You bring consistency, you bring strength, you bring emotional safety, presence, purpose. You bring a man who's done the work and refuses to settle for anyone who hasn't done theirs. The version of you that existed before the breakup, he needed her validation. He was terrified of rejection. He walked on eggshells and sacrificed parts of himself to stay lovable. But the man you are now, he walks in rooms differently. He doesn't chase because he doesn't need to. He evaluates, he observes, he decides. So when she comes back, ask yourself, is she a good fit for the man I've become? Or does she only make sense to the man I used to be? That question will save you. Because just like she made a choice when she left, you now have the power to make a choice when she returns. Not from bitterness, not from ego, but from truth. And the truth is, when you become the man who no longer settles, who no longer begs, who no longer breaks for love, you become the man who can choose love, not need it. You don't need to prove anything to her now. She's not the prize anymore. You are. If this hit you, if something inside you shifted while watching this, then that voice you're hearing right now, that whisper in your gut, that's your truth speaking. Because this video wasn't just about her coming back. It was about you coming back to yourself. Coming back to the man you were always meant to become before you gave so much of yourself away, hoping to be chosen. And maybe right now, you're still in the thick of it. Maybe your heart still wants her, even after everything. That's okay. I'm not here to shame you for that. I've been there more than once. But what I am here to tell you is this. You don't heal by going back to what broke you. You heal by remembering who you were before you forgot your own worth. And if you got even a moment of clarity from this, if you're starting to see yourself a little clearer, if you've realized that maybe, just maybe, you don't need her back to feel whole again, then share this video with someone else who needs to hear it. Because there's a guy out there right now, just like you were checking his phone, waiting for her name to pop up, hoping to feel wanted again. And he doesn't know it yet, but he's the prize too. So don't keep this to yourself. Backhand index pointing right like this video if it hit home. Speaking, drop a comment below and tell me what part spoke to you most. I read everyone. Repeat button, share this with a brother, a best friend, or a man going through heartbreak. Someone who needs strength more than silence. Inbox, tray, and subscribe, because this is just the beginning of you stepping into your next level. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You're just becoming, and this is your moment. I'll see you in the next one. Keep going, Blue Heart.